You know, if you look at the world in general, can anybody tell me a city that has actually become a better place to live in the last 30 years? Are there any cities in the world where people say, oh my God, 30 years ago it was total crap and now it's just like heaven? Everybody talks about, oh my God, the traffic now, the pollution, the noise, the crime, the stress. It was just really mellow back in the 60s or 70s, you know, it was just like, and now it's just like a gigantic mess. This is an observable reality. When I was a kid, there was this pervading idea in the world that what we needed was more technology. Technology was going to make it. You know what it was meant to do? This was the idea. It was going to make it so people are, number one, more productive, and they have to spend less time working to make more money so they could have a better quality of life. This was a common theme when I was a kid. It really piqued my interest. It's almost been forgotten that this was an idea that was being floated around out there. But if we look at what has actually happened in the world, technology has accelerated in the last 40 years in ways that were just inconceivable. It was inconceivable what's going on today when the average, I was going to say idiot, but I shouldn't say idiot. No. Excuse me, I'm a little bit rude sometimes, but you know, they got the cell phone, they got all the apps, they're doing all the trips, you know. But when we start, and previously it was just, there were no cell phones. You know, and I existed in a time when there wasn't even answering machines. If you couldn't get somebody at their desk, at work, or at their home, you just had to keep trying. You know, and if you still couldn't get them, then you mailed them a letter. There was no email. You mailed them a letter saying, you know, talk to them about whatever you want to talk, and a few days later it shows up. I mean, this idea is mind-boggling for a lot of people today that didn't live in these times. I don't know how old I look, but it doesn't seem like that long ago. One of the problems that we see, though, with this lack of wisdom is the unwise application of technology is leading to more stress, to more pollution, more crime. I mean, we are creating a world that is completely, let's be honest, undesirable. Do we want things to be better? I think everybody would like to see things a lot better. Are we moving towards, if we look at it objectively, are we moving towards a better situation, or are we moving further away from it? I think that the majority of people will say we're moving away from a desirable situation. So what's the problem? How come we can't put the brakes on? How come we can't question, well, things are not working out the way they were meant to? I mean, when I was a kid, the idea, you have more technology in the workplace, so you'll be able to do more, which means you can earn more money, and you spend less time working, so you've got more leisure time. Has that transpired? People are working harder now. And before you had like an accounting department, and there was maybe 15 people in there with pencils and pencil sharpeners and spreadsheets, you know, and they're doing all the spreadsheets and the journal entries and everything. Now they've crunched that load down to one person on a computer. And not only is that person doing the work of 15 people, now they are asked to apply more analysis, We want forward projections of things. We want what-if scenarios. We want to examine how things are going, you know, the economic trends. And now it's just like more and more load, and this is frantic work. And in reality, people are not earning 15 times more than they were when there were 15 people in the accounting department. I mean, even if we're looking at 40 years ago, you know, the wage of 15 people 40 years ago, it's going to be more than what somebody's earning right now, just, you know, doing the fundamental accounting for a company. And so what we see is that the introduction of technology and this focus of where your labor, your work simply has become part of an economic formula. Your work is not something that adds value to your life, apart from the check that you get, the money that you get is all that you're getting. Is it ennobling your life? Is it enriching? Is your work enriching your life? And everybody will actually say no. All of the studies all throughout the world, the answer is no. I mean, you try to just work in a checkout in a supermarket, and you've got all of this, you know, scanning technology, point of sale technology, you know, where you're monitoring. And the guy in the back office gets a printout every day, and they may have 50, 60, 80 tellers working on the checkout, and they're analyzing how many customers did you serve, how many items per customer, how much time did you spend per customer, how much time were you spending per item that was checked through. And the guy's just looking at it, and next minute you're in the office, and what, can you tell me what's going on? Why are you spending so much time? You can be pleasant and greet the customer, but we got to get this through there. I mean, come on. You know, you're not allowed to have a relaxed conversation or anything with a customer. It just, so we see that technology, and I can give hundreds of examples, technology introduced into the workplace has not resulted in you having to work less, nor does it mean that you have more money, nor does it mean that you have more leisure time. You are more stressed, you are more, you know, it's just so much harder than it was, you know, 40 or 50 years ago. The work does not ennoble or enrich your life, generally speaking. And there are all the statistics from all over the world and the United Nations, the International Labor Organization that support this reality. So these are just like some examples of how wisdom, we can see that wisdom is what is sorely lacking. This is actually a very big subject, and perhaps we can try to talk a little bit more about this